We are approaching some really goofy times, ladies and gentlemen. So what up, everybody? Arie here. And in this video, I want to discuss Facebook's latest news headline that just came out yesterday. They're completely changing their company name to Meta. So yeah, sorry to break the suspense, but they're no longer going to be called Facebook. They're going to be called Meta. So if this is the first time you're hearing about this, you may be just as confused as I was. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll get a better understanding of what's going on here and also how it can potentially affect the future of Facebook and the future of advertising as well, and the future in general. Okay, I got a lot of thoughts on this, I'm not gonna lie, so just bear with me here and we'll get through everything. So when I heard these news, the first thing that popped into my mind was what I tweeted here, and I think a lot of people kind of relate to this, but I said that Facebook changing their name to Meta feels like the beginning of a cyberpunk movie. Things are about to get pretty interesting, and I really do feel that way. Now, the reason I said this is because the reason why Facebook is doing this is because they have a vision of working and playing in the virtual world. So that's what they mean with Meta. I actually have an article here pulled up that just came out like a few hours ago. And yeah, basically it talks about Facebook on Thursday announced that it has changed its company name to Meta. So this was announced at the Facebook Connect Augmented and Virtual Reality Conference, which is why I also feel like, man, this is the beginning of a cyberpunk movie. So anyways, it goes on to say that the new name reflects the company's growing ambitions beyond social media. Facebook, now known as Meta, has adopted the new moniker based on the sci-fi term metaverse to describe its vision for working and playing in a virtual world. So this is a Mark Zuckerberg quote here that he said, "Today we are seen as a social media company, but in our DNA, we are a company that builds technology to connect people. And the metaverse is the next frontier, just like social networking was when we got started," Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said. So actually, that's something that I talked about yesterday with a few of my friends. You know, a lot of them were kind of shocked at this news change and whatever. And, you know, to be honest with you, I wasn't as shocked because I do see it as a logical next step in terms of technological advancement and connectivity. If you think about it, the average person already spends like 6 hours a day on their phone. So I think the logical next step to that is, you know, an augmented reality, a virtual world where you can just go in and, you know, be there indefinitely. Now, the reason why I say it's the beginning of a cyberpunk movie is because this is kind of scary still. I mean, even though it's not shocking to me that this is going on, it has the potential to be really scary, especially for people that have, you know, no self-control and that do spend hours, like literally like 10 hours a day on their phone. These people are going to be in the metaverse like literally endlessly. So it's going to start to look more and more like a real life Matrix type of scenario. But anyways, I don't want to go on a tangent here in that regard. I just think it's quite interesting. So here's another Zuckerberg quote. He said, "Our hope is that within the next decade, the metaverse will reach 1 billion people, host hundreds of billions of dollars of digital commerce, and support jobs for millions of creators and developers." So this is something that I think it's a little more exciting, like a kind of positive outlook on this. The good thing about this is that it will bring a lot of jobs. It will breed a lot of new entrepreneurs. I mean, with all this new technology, you have to think that, you know, it creates thousands of jobs, and the need for entrepreneurs is only going to grow more and more, especially once we get into space more and once we have like a moon base and stuff. Like, we're going to need entrepreneurs to kind of run the economy, to build new businesses and stuff like that. And I kind of see this in the same way. You know, the cool thing about the metaverse as opposed to the actual universe is that we can explore it much easier. It doesn't take as many resources to do that. Whereas, you know, obviously going to Mars, it takes a lot of time and resources. Now, the one thing I do think about this that is kind of maybe obvious, but I do want to point it out, is that this kind of validates the whole NFT movement. I mean, I'm not saying that it makes every NFT valuable. I still believe that like 99.9% of NFTs are worthless. But what I do think now is that the ones that have social validation are actually a pretty fire investment. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish I had a CryptoPunk right now. It sounds crazy, but I think it's a really worthwhile investment, especially considering that, you know, we're fully going with this metaverse narrative. And when I first bought my first NFT like years ago, I was buying NFTs that I thought were really cool. I didn't even care about the collectibles. I just wanted to buy art for like my metaverse room. That's how I envisioned it back then. And it's just crazy to see that, you know, this narrative is actually playing out. And what's crazier to me is how fast it's actually all happening. So like everything is kind of happening all at once. Crypto, NFTs, the metaverse. It's like, holy shit, we're really advancing technologically at a rate that was unprecedented, at least to me. So apparently they said they're going to spend 10 billion over the next year, so developing the technologies required for building the metaverse. So we're going to watch this video real quick, but my biggest concern here with having, a centralized power here running this metaverse is, of course, the fact that it's centralized, right? Like the whole reason for NFTs and crypto in general was for decentralization, kind of distributing the power to the people, not to a single entity. That's like the most basic understanding of, Bitcoin, for example. If you don't really know much about crypto, this kind of defeats the purpose of that. If Facebook owns the whole metaverse, then, they're literally the biggest central power in the metaverse, and that's kind of scary. So in order to sort of visualize kind of what's going on here, and from my understanding, what I can see is happening is this is the new model, right? So previously Facebook was, the main company here. This was Facebook, but now they're changing to Meta. And then under Meta, you got the portfolio of apps, Instagram, Facebook, Oculus, and WhatsApp. So I don't think they're actually going to change anything. Like they're just changing the name of the company to reflect their ambitions to build this metaverse, which again, I gotta say, this does feel like the beginning of a cyberpunk movie. I do like that they're, mentioning how, this is early, this is a long-term vision, but I'm more curious about if they could give more details into what the metaverse would entail and how laws and stuff like that would take place, because I'm sure there will have to be regulations within the metaverse as well. It's not just gonna be this insane chaos. But one thing I think is very noteworthy from what they mentioned is the billions of dollars that they foresee that will come out of digital commerce. So again, this is where NFTs tie in really well, but honestly, I'm trying to think of other ways that digital products could be sold in the metaverse. Like what other things besides NFTs could be sold? And I want to pass that question on to you guys as well. If you could help me brainstorm some ideas here, just out of curiosity mainly. Like I just really am interested in this change that's going on. And truly what I am to do is to always stay in the forefront of technology and stuff like that. And especially when it comes to commerce and art, those are kind of like my two things right there, kind of like my bread and butter right there. So yeah, I do believe that this is actually going to be a really good thing for e-commerce and commerce in general. Like they said, they foresee this just, really increasing consumer behavior. They didn't actually directly say that, but that's kind of what I think they're hinting at. Like WALL-E the movie predicted all this shit. If you've ever seen WALL-E, man, this is literally what's going on. I have a feeling that once this gets up and rolling, the majority of people that are already kind of like addicted to their phones and just, impulse buy stuff and stuff like that, like all the time, they just like need that constant dopamine rush. They are going to be the ones that are going to be in the metaverse, like literally all day, every single day, shopping, buying things for their digital world. So ultimately, this is a great time for entrepreneurs. I gotta say it again, but not even just for entrepreneurs, but even for, the people that kind of want that. Like it's kind of sad to think about it, but a lot of people really do lack that sort of like meaning in their lives, and they do kind of want to go mindlessly scroll on Instagram or something, or mindlessly navigate the metaverse. That sounds more fun to me than just scrolling on Instagram. So if you look at it from that point of view, maybe it's not that bad. But yeah, and then as far as Facebook ads go, like I guess we're going to be calling them meta ads, which is actually kind of dope. I actually really fuck with that name. I think that's pretty icy. So new meta ads tutorial coming soon, guys. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I really don't think anything's going to be affected too much. Like they said, this is kind of like going on behind the scenes, and I don't think they're just going to tear down everything to just focus on this metaverse build. And like they said, they're partnering with other brands. It's not a project that they're taking on just by themselves. So I'm not too concerned about what's going to happen with Facebook ads. I actually think they're probably going to continue to make them better and better, and especially once everybody's got those Oculus things, they're going to be buying more stuff than ever before, which is obviously good and bad. I guess I don't really know where to call it. But one thing that I am excited about is to continue to cover more NFT, crypto, because as you see, it's becoming more and more closely related to commerce. Like If you guys watched some of my videos even from a few months back, I started to mention like, man, I want to start talking about crypto more because I do see that there's a connection between Shopify and Bitcoin, for example, and like their ethos and overall just like their purpose. Clearly, I was right about that. I mean, the way things are heading, commerce, crypto, and NFTs are just literally becoming one. So again, I want to get you guys involved in this conversation. What do you think of this? Like, what do you think, first of all, of the name Meta? I think it's kind of funny and weird. But I want to know what you think. Second of all, what do you think this is going to be like for the future? Like, is this a good thing, a bad thing? Are you concerned at all? And lastly, I just want to know what things could be sold in the metaverse. I mean, right now I can only think of NFTs, clothes for your meta character and stuff like that. But aside from that, I really don't know. I mean, obviously there's gonna be a whole range of things that you can probably buy. But yeah, I hope you guys found this interesting. I am always down to cover all these crazy things going on in the world and giving you my 2 cents on it. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I feel like I have a pretty good outlook on things. I have a lot of experience. I've read a lot of books, especially dystopian books. I mean, one of my favorites is 1984 and Brave New World. I've read both of those in like a couple days because I thought they were so good. So I feel like I'm pretty well armed for this coming metaverse and just landscape in general. Even with crypto, I've been learning so much about crypto, and I really do want to start getting you guys informed on more of this stuff because I don't want you to be left behind. I mean, clearly there's crazy opportunities going on right now, and if you don't learn how to navigate them, you could easily get caught, you know, underwater, for lack of a better word, and getting left behind. So I don't want that to happen to you. And if you don't want that either, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. I promise you, every single video that I make, even if I'm making a lot of videos, will have some sort of value, something that you can learn from, or something that will at least intrigue you. I would never release a video if I didn't think it was at least somewhat valuable. So with that said, make sure you give this video a like, help with the algorithm a little bit, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see y'all in my next video. Peace.
Do you have a favorite feature to use in here?
Yeah.
Something that you think is very cool?
Check this out.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
This is so freaking cool.